Hey there, my name's Jennifer, and you might know me from the Dr. Marketing Tips podcast and Insight Marketing Group, but we have recently launched a new company and a new initiative called Insight Training Solutions. And so what I'm going to try to do here, maybe for the next couple of weeks, maybe we keep this thing going, is I'm going to do a kind of a video diary as we move on in the progression of launching this new training solution for our medical practice clients. And so let me just explain to you first kind of why we're doing this, and then really briefly touch on what we're doing. And then next week I'll follow it with another episode where we've actually launched some new clients onto the system and kind of explain to you what we've gone through with these new clients, what we're hearing about from these medical practices, so that maybe then you can take it back to your practice when you're thinking about how you're going to implement training or improve overall patient experience at your practice. And so basically the why we decided to launch Insight Training Solutions is because we've been working with medical practices since 2006, give or take. And the challenge that we constantly hear from the practices as the marketing has evolved over those years is twofold. One is, especially lately, we're dealing with a lot of employee turnover, more so in the last couple of years than we have in years previous. And I really think a lot of that has to do with the way that the market is stronger right now. Employees are literally willing to jump ship for 50 cents an hour. And that's tough on a practice, and it's tough on any business. If you've taken, all this time and energy to train your employees, to get them up to speed, to make sure that they're a cultural fit, and then for literally $20 to $50 per week, they're willing to jump ship, then, that's a smack in the face. That's tough. And it's really tough when it's happening over and over and over, and you're not able to kind of stop that bleeding. And so one of the reasons that we launched Insight Training Solutions was so that we could help practices invest in training that will develop professional careers, that will make individuals who might be working for that practice feel as if they're cared for in a way that they hadn't felt in the past. It's one thing to throw a bunch of training at an employee and mandate that they do it, and it's another thing when it becomes ongoing. And so the platform is designed specifically to kind of make it fun, to allow the employee to engage, for the HR manager to be able to kind of see when an employee is engaged in a training process, and then to take that engagement and help develop them professionally throughout their career. So, the statistics are pretty startling of why people are willing to leave a business that they've been working for. But the statistics are really strong when you look at when a company is investing back in its people, especially if you're hiring millennials right now. Those younger generations, that the data backs it up, and it says that they want a mentor. And so we don't all have time to mentor our employees on a day-to-day basis, but if you can provide ongoing training that helps them develop professionally, whether it's directly tied to your practice or maybe it's some leadership training or coaching or something like that, it helps from a retention standpoint. So the challenge that we were hearing from our clients day in and day out was that the turnover was through the roof in these last couple of years, especially as the economy's been strong. So the training platform is an answer to one of those challenges. It's a solution to one of those challenges. And then the other side of it, we've been doing this since 2006, like I said, with medical practices only. We work with dozens upon dozens of practices, hundreds of physicians, and it feels as if, 10 years ago, we were maybe building a website or focused on designing really strong collateral material, or helping, from a referral standpoint of making sure that people had what they needed to go out there and work on referral patterns. Now it's totally different. It's totally different in that so much of what we're doing from a marketing standpoint is to be where the patient is expecting us to be when they're ready to make their decision, and mitigating 1, 2, 3 star reviews. We offer, as part of the marketing practice side of the business, we offer those subscriptions so that you can monitor what people are saying about you online and, maintain your reputation. But in the last couple of years specifically, I've noticed that these companies are a dime a dozen, and that every practice at this point is claiming reviews and then, kind of watching what people are saying about them online. But the challenge that we're hearing in the practices that we're working with, it's not so much anymore about having the software available or the technology to see what people are saying. It's now about, how do we get to the root of the problem? And that's the crux of why we started Insight Training Solutions, is because we're out there every single day working with these practices. And my office is actually inside of a large orthopedic practice. We sublet space inside of a very large practice. And, we're seeing how things are happening that are outside of the doctor's control or outside of management's control. And how do we mitigate these one-star reviews? And that challenge just kept coming up over and over and over again, that finally we said, we've got to address this issue. And so that's where Insight Training Solutions came in, is that we had a problem that we needed to address within the practices we were working with. And ultimately it led to us creating, as a starting point, a 5-part patient experience training that's available on demand, and a generational training that explains, that teaches people how to work with patients and coworkers of different generations. And so that's what it's all about. And so it's a new journey for us, but it's the same kind of client base. I'm excited to see it. I haven't started a new business in a handful of years, and so this is a great process. And it's going to be a journey that hopefully you'll come on with us. And I promise you, as your guide to this patient experience effort that we are moving forward on in this training, I'm going to share some things with you that I promise you can take back to your practice and begin implementing on day one. And so I hope you'll join me on this journey, and thank you so much for joining me today.